So before we begin, just who I am. I'm your host today, Jody. I'm the owner of eTEFL Online. So I've been running the business since 2016, TEFL certified, and was a ESL teacher for 14 years. One of the questions that we got asked, and that we asked ourselves as well when presenting or when coming up with this idea for the Business English course, is what is Business English exactly? It's a very broad term and it means different things to different people. But I would say it's better defined as workplace English. But basically, it is you being a facilitator to learners who want to improve their level of English for work or business purposes. It's different to being a regular general English teacher because in this case, the student is the expert. When you, for example, giving a business English lesson to a doctor or a lawyer or whatever the profession may be, you do not know what they know, all right? The student is the expert. What they want your help with is presentations, emails, negotiations, meetings, and any or every other aspect of the corporate or business world. So why Business English? Why should you consider it? And why did we create a course for it? Well, 1.5 billion people are learning English worldwide at the moment. Global English language training market is around 90 billion in 2026. And expected to double to $180 billion by early 2030. So this is a growing industry. English is the default global language of business and communication. We all know this already. Up to 80% of international corporate communication happens in English. So even if a Spanish person does business with a Japanese person, it's probably going to be in English. Now, the business English market of that is itself a multi-billion-dollar industry and fast-growing, and it makes up 23 billion this year, which is around about a quarter of the entire industry, and we're expected to rise to about 50 to 55 billion by early to mid 2030s. So it's around 25% of all the ESL market in general is business English, a quarter of it. So there is a huge demand. It's also driven by corporate demand. So companies are investing in business English to improve their global communications, their collaboration, train teams for negotiations, presentations, leadership. And when you go out there and teach business English, a lot of the times you'll have one-on-one lessons with somebody, or you could work for a company that provides these services to corporations. A lot of the times the corporations or just the small businesses in some cases will give their employees a check or a supplement for them to spend on their own training so they can go find their own teacher, but the company is paying for it. So in the end, the company's probably paying for it, but whether you get it privately, one-on-one, or you're going through a company that you work for that does this, the same people are paying. I thought it interesting as well to share some market share. Where exactly are the biggest markets for business English? And North America being the biggest one at 34%. I was surprised by that one. But there it is. Asia Pacific is about 30%, and Europe making up 26%, and the Middle East and Africa is much lower at 10%. So for the people joining me now, we're probably in the GMT time zone. So, and if you had a North American student, so for their basically when they wake up, that'll be your afternoons. Asia Pacific will be your mornings, and Europe would be your midday roundabout. So you could have students from every part of the world where the biggest markets are and spread those out quite comfortably over your working day. So what is the aim of the course? This is the blurb from the course itself, but by completing this course, participants will demonstrate a clear understanding of business English methodology and how it differs from general English, particularly in its focus on workplace communication, task performance, and professional tone. And those are really the biggest ones. It's a lot of communication. Whether that's verbal or written communication, that's what you'll be doing most of it. A lot of speaking with your students and a lot of writing tasks. Task performance, they want to perform well at their tasks and their professional tone. So how they would speak in English without insulting anybody or being rude, and being professional, which is something you have to learn. Even if you've learned general English, you won't know professional English. So I wanted to break down the course a little bit to show you what's included and why we put it there. So Module 1, an introduction to business English, what makes business English different from general English. We just touched on that earlier. Module 2, needs analysis and course design. So interviewing clients, interviewing your student, analyzing job tasks, mapping learning outcomes. So when you get a new client, you would need to do a needs analysis first off to find out what exactly they require from you and what their aims are and how much time that they're going to have to dedicate it. So what we've done is include this module, show you how to do that. And we also have a materials section on each one where you can download extra PDFs. And one of them is a needs analysis template for you to use to get started with. Module 3, teaching business English speaking skills. So this is where the communication comes in, the meetings, presentations, networking, and doing role plays. A lot of it is role plays when you got a business English client, unless you have 2 in a class, but otherwise it's you and the client. Module 4 is teaching business writing skills. So emails, reports, proposals. So there's your 2 forms of communication, really, the speaking and the writing. Module 5, teaching intercultural communication, cross-cultural awareness and pragmatics thereof. This is something that many people don't really think about when they think about business English teaching, but I was just reading an interesting tidbit this morning, actually, that in Japan, for example, when you're playing golf, and golf is a very business English orientated sport, when you're playing golf in Japan and you hit a hole-in-one, that you have to buy everybody a gift. Whereas in our culture, or in a Western culture at least, when you are playing golf and you hit a hole-in-one, everybody has to buy you a beer afterwards. So it's the complete opposite. In fact, the gifts can get so expensive that almost half of all Japanese golfers have hole-in-one insurance, just in case this happens. So a lot of cross-cultural awareness is required, especially when you're talking about the Asian cultures with the Western cultures. There can be a lot of difference. Module 6, materials selection and adaptation. So how to use authentic materials, how to adapt them, how to use case studies, simulations, things like that. Module 7, teaching business English online. All right, specifically for the online platforms, digital tools, engagement strategies. If you've been teaching online, a lot of this carries over, but there might be some differences in the digital tools, for example, or maybe some of the platforms. Module 8, using AI in business English teaching. So using AI, it's going to happen. Your student is going to be using it. You are going to be using it. Might as well embrace it. So, but how do we use it? Effectively and creatively, using lesson planning, for example. AI has cut down lesson planning by 80%. So your time and your effort is almost minimal when it comes to lesson planning. Material creation, this touches back on module 6 as well. So the AI that you can use to develop or to adapt authentic materials. Learner practice with AI as well. So there's some tools that you can give to your students so that after the class they can do a little practice on their own, and it is corrected instantly with AI. There's some great tools for this. Module 9 is assessment in business English. So testing overall written skills, performance-based assessment. So you get somebody who wants to measure their performance. They are professionals. They want to see that they're improving, and you've got to be able to assess them and show them the differences and how they've progressed. Module 10, professional development and career growth for business English teachers. So we wanted to put this in. This is the last thing, and that's for you as the teacher. Tips and suggestions for longevity as a business English teacher. How not to burn out. Okay, how to grow as a business English teacher. How to get more students. How to keep them coming back. All right, I want to see if I could also share another screen with you. I want to show you inside the course, but with every module, we have downloadable resources for both the teacher and the student, and then templates for the teacher to use, as well as lesson plans for every module. So this is what you will see as well. When you log into your course, you'll have a dashboard, and then you will have the courses like that. So it gives you the program overview, important course information, and as you scroll down, here are your modules. So I just wanted to just give you an inside look. So there are all of these PDFs, for example, that you start with. You can download them over here in the corner. All right, there's links in the text as well that you can click, and they will open up. And there on the left, we can go through all the modules. Every module has a quiz for you to complete as well. All right, this is the your role as a business English teacher, your needs analysis and course design. For example, he has the materials tab that you can click on, and you have all these things that you can download, lesson plans, ideas, worksheets for the students. I wanted to jump over here to using AI in business English teaching, because one of the materials that I really like here is this first one. if you're not used to using AI and your student isn't either, so for example, this is a guided AI task for your student. You get them to write a clear AI prompt. So they're going to ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you're going to use, write a prompt related to their workplace communication, whatever their problem is and what they want, generate the response, identify the strengths in the output from the AI, identify the weaknesses or the generic phrasing, and then rewrite the output and have their own improved version, which they then submit to you, and then you guys can have a class about it. Let's continue. All right, what are the benefits that we can have? So you have lifetime access to the course and all future updates. So this is not like our TEFL course or our practicum where you have a 6-month access period. This is lifetime. It will never expire. You will get access, of course, to any updates we do. We might adapt the course if anything new comes along, anything becomes obsolete, it needs to be updated, and you will have access to that. So you can go back whenever you want, log in to check something, download resources whenever you require them. There is a high demand for specialist teachers. We've looked at this already. Right in the beginning, we saw that the business sector accounts for 25% of the entire ESL training market, $23 billion in, this year, up to 55 in the next 10 or 9 years. So this is a growing industry. It's a great niche for independent teachers. As we've just seen, there are many people around the world looking for help in this area of English. And we found that they are very serious about it because they're trying to get a raise or a promotion or get more international clients, or in a lot of cases, they're also job seekers. So they want help with their CVs or their resumes on how to prepare that. So the people that are going to be taking these classes with you are very dedicated. And if you are on this call and you are already a teacher and you've taught children or teenagers, you know that an unmotivated student is a very difficult thing to deal with. And it's a breath of fresh air when you have somebody that is always dedicated and ready for their class. So that's another benefit that I should actually write down there. Certification is becoming required. So just recently, platforms like Preply are now requiring that teachers who advertise a specific skill like business English or Cambridge exam preparation or IELTS have to have a certificate in the advertised field. So you might want to look into that. It's definitely happening with Cambridge and IELTS. And also that this is a certified course, all right? So we are certified but by the CPD group. So that's the Continuing Professional Development Group. And you will get 30 CPD credits with this certification if you require that for your job. And then just to finish off with the costs and the processes, the fees are £59 if you're in the UK watching this. You can get that on eteflonline.co.uk, 69 euros on the .eu site if you're in mainland Europe, and then 1,199 Rand if you're in South Africa or on the African continent in general. You can sign up over there on those pages, get your welcome email, log in, and begin the course right away. And when you're finished, you will get an email and a certificate of completion. But of course, because this is the webinar and you've joined us and given us your time, you can use the coupon code BUSINESSWEBINAR to get £10, 10 euros, or 200 Rand if you're in South Africa off. You can go and do the exchange rates. These prices are all more or less exactly the same, okay? And this offer is valid until the 31st of March, 2026.